I know I overused this clip, but when I first watched this trailer, the only thing that I could think of was this.
You can't keep getting away with it!
So Disney's back again with a brand new Star Wars show. This one is called The Acolyte. It's a show we've been hearing about for years. We finally have a trailer for it and a release date. It is coming out on June 4th. Now, what is The Acolyte? What is this brand new Star Wars show? Yet again, coming from Disney, coming from Kathleen Kennedy. Well, The Acolyte is this brand new show that takes place at the end of the High Republic era of Star Wars. Now, you might be asking, what is the High Republic? Well, the High Republic is this kind of made-up time period that Disney came up with because they didn't want to make projects in the Old Republic and give credit to the people that spent years and years and years building all of that extra lore and stuff that they kind of canceled away. So they created the High Republic so they could launch their own stories that take place before the prequels, and they can kind of do it in this timeline. That's essentially what it is. They've been doing it, actually, I'll give them credit, they've been doing it the right way. They've been building the lore of the High Republic, the look of it, the characters, a lot of that stuff out in novels, comic books, all that stuff, sort of building the foundation so when we would eventually have a show, the foundation would have been laid down. They wouldn't just be going in blind. So I actually think they did it the right way, although they should have probably just made it the Old Republic, because, come on, it was so much cooler. So this show specifically, I believe, takes place about 100 years before The Phantom Menace. It's the first time Disney has made a project that's really outside of that post-Revenge of the Sith timeline. And pretty much everything they've made has either taken place during the time of the Empire, or the time after the Empire during, like, the sequel era. That's pretty much all Disney has played in, which is bizarre, because you have thousands of years of history in the Star Wars universe, so they're finally kind of jumping back and doing a story in a previous timeline, in a prequel to the prequels, which, on the surface, is awesome. That is exactly what I have been asking for, probably for like 6-7 years at this point. It's the right thing to go to, because the farther you go in the past in this universe, the more freedom you have to tell stories. You don't have to be, kind of handcuffed to the old movies. You don't have to be handcuffed to the fact that we can't do anything big or grand because Darth Vader's out there and we know how that story goes. Or, the sequels are out there and we know how those stories go. You go farther in the past, now you have the freedom to tell a gigantic, massive, universe-altering story that, you have hundreds of years before you have any other, kind of set-in-stone lore or movies to deal with. So this is the right idea to go into the past, and of course we have a trailer now, and we sort of see this kind of Jedi, this high time of the Jedi as they are now being hunted by some evil Jedi killer who's apparently a Sith Lord as well, and it just looks to be a mysterious show about, kind of a conspiracy to kill the Jedi, which is, kind of cool. But I have a lot of problems with the show. I smell fish. You know what I mean? I smell some rotten, disgusting fish on this show. And although this trailer, I will say, on the surface level, is a really good trailer, Star Wars and Disney have mastered the art of making really good trailers. Go look at the Rise of Skywalker trailers. They are just awesome and amazingly edited. Just go watch them. The movie, not so much. But I smell fish on this show. I smell spoiled fish, and I've been smelling it for years. But before I really get into what I hate about it, let me talk about some stuff that I really like about this trailer. First off, the overall vibe. I like seeing the Jedi at their height, seeing all these Jedi in power, in their primes. This is cool. This is what we've wanted for years, because obviously the timelines we've been playing in live action are a time period where there really aren't many Jedi. Obviously, after the Great Purge, after Order 66, all of these Jedi have been killed, so you see kind of Jedi that are outside of their prime. Guys like Luke, people like Rey, very, very minimal amounts of Jedi. There's no major Jedi Order, no Jedi Temple, nothing that we saw from, like, the prequels. But here, we see them at their prime, at their strength. Li Jung-jae, I think, is playing, like, the main Jedi here. He, of course, is the main guy from Squid Game. He's awesome. It's awesome to see him in something like this, and he looks like he's going to be great. He's easily my favorite part of this trailer. Just everything, the whole vibe that he brings to this character, just looks like a badass. He looks like he's going to be a classic Jedi Master that hopefully fans could latch onto. A new character that might actually be great, because Disney has had a very hard time at creating new characters. Outside of, like, Mando and Grogu, they've really struggled, which is why they rely so much on bringing in old characters for nostalgia in all these movies and TV shows. It also looks like Amandla Steinberg is going to be playing sort of a villain, or like the apprentice to the villain. That's kind of the vibe that I got, that she's probably like the number 2, the apprentice here. I don't know much about her, but she looks cool, I guess. Daphne and Keen is also in this show. I didn't see her in the trailer, but I, you know, she's in Logan. She's great. Something I do like about this trailer is there's a cinematic vibe to it that I think does set itself apart from many of the other Star Wars shows. It does seem higher in quality and budget size than something like the Obi-Wan show. It does look like they're going to different areas of the Star Wars galaxy and different cultures that we haven't yet explored. And that's what I really like in Star Wars and the opportunity they have. And I think something like Dune has kind of already showed this recently, is that when you're in a universe like this that has all these different planets, all these different people, all these different areas to explore, the things that really need to be explored, it's not just the visual sense. It's not just a desert planet. This is a cold planet. It's about the cultures. Each planet has a different species of people living on it that have very, very different cultures. And I think the trap that Star Wars has kind of gotten into is that each planet, although visually sort of sets itself apart sometimes not so much, they kind of lack the ability to set apart what each planet's civilization is like, what they actually think of the overall galaxy. In this show, it should be, what do they think about the Republic and the Jedi, who are kind of like these overseers of the peace, What do they think of these space wizards, right? That's like kind of the whole idea. So this trailer kind of, on the onset, made it seem like we're going to be exploring these different cultures as these Jedis are investigating the murders that are taking place. I also think the lightsabers look really good. There's been some Disney Star Wars shows where the lightsabers just looked really bad. They look fine here, so that's really good. I think a lot of the fight choreography, just in little glimpses, looks like it's really well done. Looks like there was a lot of attention to detail, especially some of the stuff where the Force is being used in the middle of the fight. A lot of that does look cool. The trailer has a sense of grit to it. I don't want to use the word dark, because I know this is not going to be dark. It's Disney. But it's got a sense of grit to it that's a little bit less than something like Andor, but definitely a lot more than something like The Mandalorian. And that's something that I really like. I honestly think Star Wars should be going in a darker direction with stuff like this on TV, where you have more freedoms. With the movies, we want to make big, grand, colorful adventures. Go ahead, but with the shows, we could be a little grittier. Now that I got the positives out of the way, it's time to bitch about the show a little bit, because I got some problems. All right, and first off, we're going to start with the person who's show running the show, the person that's creating it. And listen, I'm not going to go too hard on this woman, because yet again, I don't know her personally, I don't know anything about her, but this woman has made some very troubling comments in the past when it comes to Star Wars. Now we're talking about Leslie Headland, which she has a very, very big body of work, a very long-standing body of work that it's no wonder that she got to run and produce and create her own Star Wars show. She's made amazing shows like what? She's made, Russian Doll. I've never watched it, but apparently people like it, and, not seeing much else in her filmography. So, another interesting hire by Disney. And she's made incredible comments about Star Wars and George Lucas, like this one. Yeah, what a headline. This seems to be the perfect person to bring in to produce a Star Wars show. I'm sure fans are going to love her. Disney, what are we doing here? There's also another show from Disney that seems to be kind of infected by the woke mind virus, and that's as far as I'm going to go into that. But if you know what I mean when it comes to Disney projects, you know what I mean. And if it goes that route again, this show is going to get absolutely demolished on social media by people. And it seems like it might be going down that route, but I'm not going to go that much into it because I might be wrong. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not a big deal. But I have a feeling, because it's Disney, it's probably going to go down that route. Now, some actual, story details that I might have a problem with, because this is just, the stench of fish is really coming from the creators and the fact that this is Disney, but some story issues that I have. First off, the Acolyte. The idea of this show, and when it was first announced, I thought was going to be sort of like following the Sith during this time, which is a very tough subject to follow, because if you know the Star Wars universe, which I'm sure Disney does not know very much of, just, blatantly looking at a lot of the stuff they've made, so the Sith in the Old Republic, the Jedi believed that they were gone, and it had been about 1,000 years up until the Phantom Menace, so they realized, oh shit, the Sith are still around. When Darth Maul reveals himself on Tatooine to, Qui-Gon Jinn, that is the moment the Jedi realize that the Sith are still here and they are a problem. So, if you're doing a show that's 100 years in the past, and the Sith are popping up, it's going to create some very big story and canon problems that they're going to have to work around. Now, will they work around it? Maybe. So that's why I'm not gonna shit on the show yet. I'm not gonna say this is a terrible thing they're doing. They're ruining the canon before I've even watched the show. But it smells like fish, goddammit. And I swear, man, if they retcon this, if the Sith appear in this show, and the Jedi are like, we have to stop the Sith. God, Disney, you can't keep taking away stuff. You can't keep taking this from us, guys. You can't keep getting away with it. I mean, come on, man. But maybe they don't. Maybe this is not the Sith. Maybe that red lightsaber at the end, maybe these are just like assassins that use the Force, kind of like in Ahsoka or whatever. Maybe these aren't the Sith. Or maybe the Sith like appear and they just kill all the Jedi that see them. Maybe that's what's gonna happen here. But God, I'm so concerned, man. Disney has no trust. They have created no trust between them and the audience on Star Wars. None. So we fear the worst. There's no, they'll handle it. They'll figure it out. No, they're gonna fuck it up. They're gonna fuck it up, guys. I also think there's a very big missed opportunity with this show. When I first saw the title, The Acolyte, there was a hope. There was a slight hope with me that this show would be sort of an origin story of a Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious relationship. Kind of when Darth Plagueis found Sidious when he was a late teenager to early 20s, and that blossoming, sort of an origin story for Palpatine, and seeing how he became very powerful and the struggles with his family, and just how he became that evil. I think that is a very, very interesting story that was told in the extended universe. Obviously, it was retconned, but I think would make for such a great series or movie. And that's kind of what my hope was, my longing hope was for this. And I know people are going to say, oh no, you just said you want different, you want them to go all the way in the past. Yes, that's true, but an origin about Palpatine is going in the past, and it's tackling territory and avenues of Star Wars that we haven't really seen. And this idea of watching the Sith, who are these kind of disheveled people at this time, it's just the rule of two. You have two members of the Sith who are living in secret, in hiding, and sort of seeing before the rise, before the prequels where, Palpatine rises and takes over the galaxy. That would be very interesting, and kind of seeing how he became the most powerful human being of all time, the most powerful Sith, most powerful Force user of all time, that just couldn't figure out how to stop shooting lightning at Rey. Why?
And it could lead to a real yearning to commit suicide.
It appears that that's probably not what this show is going to be about. I would like to see, and I think they mentioned that there's going to be references to the Clone Wars and to the prequels in this show. Mainly, I think Yoda's probably going to appear. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know Yoda's alive at this time, but that's my assumption, that Yoda's probably going to be in it. But either way, maybe they connected some way to that, but I just don't know, and I don't exactly know the directions that the show's actually going to go in, so I'm not going to I'm not going to sit here and shit on this show, really shit on it, because yet again, I haven't seen it. Like I said, I could smell it from the distance, I could see it coming, and this appears like it's probably going to end up being a disaster. Like, that's just my gut feeling on this, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope this show is amazing, and it's great, and it's beautiful. But god damn it, Disney, it's not that complicated. Just go in the past, give us Darth Revan, and let's get this shit going. Why do we gotta keep overthinking this? Stop with the woke bullshit. Stop with all this nonsense. Alright, I'm done ranting about Star Wars. That's the video, guys. I hope you guys like it. What do you guys think about Star Wars Acolyte? Do you guys think it looks good? What do you guys think? Make sure to like and subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll see you guys in the next one.